It's the latest edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. This time I get a chance to talk with Jon Norris from Starline, and he talks about what it's like to be on the Power 50 and what's going on with PromoStandards. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is a new member of the Power 50 and a good buddy of mine, a repeat guest. Hey, he is the VP of Operations at Starline. Jon Norris, thanks so much for joining me.
Kirby, how the hell are you?
I'm doing fantastic, buddy. How the hell are you?
Good. As you might be able to see behind me, living the dream in snowy Buffalo in November. So, I would say it can't get any better, but it could get a lot better than this. So
That's fair.
Here we are.
So you have, one of the things I've noticed is you've become sort of one of the voices of the new PromoStandards movement in the promotional products industry. And it seems like that movement has some momentum. I mean, we've been talking about it for a little while, but I feel like each time I hear about it now, more and more people seem like they're adopting it and things are happening. So how do you see it going? And can you give us any updates on that project?
Yeah, it's going awesome right now. We have, like you said, we have a ton of momentum. And it's funny you use the word project. So we've actually transitioned from project to an organization. So PromoStandards today is a 501c6. We're official not-for-profit. We have a board, and starting next month, we will start onboarding membership. So we need ways to fund the organization to be able to drive technology changes. There's a lot that goes into making the standardization happen. So that's the formalization side. From the adoption side, we're seeing, I think last year we had over 100% growth. So for the last 3 years, we've been over 100% growth of adoption within the industry. That comes from both suppliers, distributors, and the service provider community has really been behind this in the last probably this past year, they've really gotten on board. So the common SKUs of the world are super behind it. The performers of the world are really behind it. It's getting those organizations on board who can go from one organization to 500 distributors or 400 distributors instantly. That's where we're seeing a lot of the growth, and they bring along a lot of challenges because of the scale that they bring, but it's amazing. For example, just this past 24 hours, I just looked at our stats. We've exchanged PromoStandards data with 400 different distributors in the last 24 hours. So a lot of that comes through, that would have been phone calls. Those would have been customers calling us for order status information, inventory, product data. So this is no longer a quote unquote project. It's a real deal, and it's exciting. It's good to have an official board. We have bylaws. It's good to have rules in place, and now it allows us to tackle the industry's challenges from a technology standpoint. So, the product data sucks. Our industry has always been horrible with product data. We just released a new product data standard last month, and that's starting to get adoption. It's those slow changes. It's tough for our industry to adopt at high rates, but when they do, we see instant ROI. So it's great.
So when you said in the last 24 hours, 400 requests or whatever, was that across PromoStandards or was that at Starline?
That's Starline. So yeah. Starline has exchanged standardized PromoStandards data with 400 different distributors in the last 24 hours. It was impressive anyway, but then it occurred to me after you started talking, I'm like, he's just talking about Starline. It's real. Exactly. And we will do probably 25 million data exchanges this year with PromoStandards. Wow. So it's not like we're just, one person's asking for an inventory of this particular mug. This is, e-commerce providers every 15 minutes pulling down real-time inventory across my entire product line. This is the scale of how it's grown has become more than what I thought it would be, and we're only a few years into this.
That's awesome, dude. Congratulations on the progress so far. So speaking of congratulations, they're in order because you were just named to the Power 50 in our industry. How do you think? I'm always curious about these lists, and I ask this question a lot because I'm curious to know how each person sort of feels about it. So when it comes to a supplier, how do you think that being recognized on a list like that affects your business?
Let's start off. So I was 5 spots behind Jeff Bezos, right? The guy who's worth $200 billion. So let's just put this in perspective. No, as a supplier, look, I'm a disciple for the Starline brand, right?
Yeah.
I get out there and preach the message. I happen to preach it from a technology first, integration, production capability standpoint. But I don't think it's really not a testament to me, Jon Norris. I think it's a testament to the opportunity that our organization has given me. They allow me to go out and go to all these crazy conferences, to participate in some of these projects that are out there. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think obviously any good news for Jon Norris is also good news for the organization. So the more that I can get out there and drive brand awareness, drive our message, whether it be through some sort of PPI recognition, ASI recognition, just the more the merrier. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, especially and I guess for each side of the business, it relates, but I always think, oh man, I think that this sort of recognition makes a ton of sense for a supplier. And so I was tickled for you. So congrats.
Thanks, man.
So I always like to ask you, because even when we're doing the show or when we're not doing the show, I like to ask you to look into the crystal ball. So as we look into 2020, so this is literally right around the corner, what trends in tech or otherwise do you see coming?
All right, so unfortunately, blockchain is not going to affect us yet. We're not there yet, so we can just cross that one off the list for 2020. Okay. It's going to affect like the finance, but promo, it's not going to shatter our world yet. So I think a big thing and I saw this at the ASI Power Summit, cybersecurity has become a huge deal in our industry. You saw what happened to Alpha Broder about a month ago. These things, it's not something you can passively just hope they aren't targeting promo industries. They have the largest suppliers in our industry in the last 2 years have been affected by this. So it's not a cool trend to be on top of, but I think you're going to see more and more suppliers, distributors, service providers getting a very more aggressive approach with cybersecurity in terms of authentication, which on the consumer side of it's great in terms of privacy. The whole GDPR in Europe, the right to be forgotten, that concept I think will kind of trickle down to the end buyer, but I think our industry itself really needs to up their cybersecurity presence. I know internally here at Starline, we're pushing towards a dual factor authentication, by either dual factor with your phone or using a tokenized, we have USB keys. So we're trying to do everything we can to kind of make sure that we're not going to jeopardize our business. And, a few other things, supply chain automation, right? That's just going to keep driving. PromoStandards is going to drive a lot of that. But, you're seeing people trying to automate all sorts of steps along the supply chain from China all the way to the end buyer. So I think those are the two big ones. This technology is going to keep rearing its head. It's not going away, right? The internet's not dead. I think we'll still see some consolidation, squeezing of the middleman. Yeah. You're always going to have I think the big are going to get bigger and the small are going to stay around because they serve a very important need to our industry, with terms of reach and how they get to their localized communities.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I heard Paul Bellantone say it, and then I heard a bunch of other people echo it, that change is happening at the slowest time right now that it's going to happen. It's like as fast as change is happening right now is as slow as it's ever going to be changing. And so that's kind of crazy. Okay, cool, man. You've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
Yeah, so I was in San Diego at the ASI Power Summit, and there was a speaker from the UK. She represents this like UN of promotional products. I didn't even know that was a thing. It was pretty cool. It has some long acronym, but one of the things she talked about that was becoming very important to younger generations is the concept of sustainability. And she actually posed this as this is going to be a large threat for our industry moving forward, right? We love to sell trinkets, so, lower value things that sometimes, unfortunately, is sold to the wrong person, just ends up in the garbage. So I guess my question is to you is how, knowing that the younger generations are demanding this and it's going to be a wave, how do you see the promotional products industry and sustainability coexisting? And what are some things that we can do better as an industry to push sustainability and push that message all the way down to the younger consumer?
Yeah, I think the idea that the end buyer's asking for it is going to be the biggest driver of change, because I think the people who are selling cheap plastic crap are going to continue doing it because that's what they know. I think the rest of us who hopefully are trying to be a little bit more of the conscience of the industry and sort of marketing. I mean, I will tell you, I have sort of taken the mantra as our company and as my, as an individual salesperson. I'm like, I don't want to show things that I'm embarrassed about anymore. And so it's just a part of our conversation is like, and I don't know that I'm talking as much about sustainability as I am talking about from a marketing consultant saying, look, this is the product that your brand is going on. And so by doing it that way, that's really changed, I think, sort of, my guess is, and I haven't looked at this, but my guess is if you look at the price per item that we've sold over the last several years, it's gone up substantially because that's what we're showing. We are making an active point to show, high quality vacuum sealed Starline tumblers. But all joking aside, it's like I'm pushing people away from that based on the conversation, and the idea that the end buyer is driving that conversation actually makes it easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a real risk that our concept of sustainability is, well, let's stop selling cotton totes and go to these reusable, recycled material. I don't know if that's still ends up in the landfill. Right. So it's just an interesting. She was very convinced that this was going to be one of the largest threats to the industry moving forward, and I think it's important that people start. It's not going to happen overnight, but sure. I think in 5 years we're going to wake up and it's going to be an interesting world as like you said, the end buyers start to flip to the younger generations as it's already happening.
Yeah, and again, that younger generation is going to drive that conversation, and so to me, I'm actually excited about that. I know that sounds weird, I think it's great. But I don't know that it takes out the industry. I think it takes out a segment of the industry.
I'm
cool.
With you.
All right, my man. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Again, congratulations on the Power 50, and we'll have to do it again sometime, okay?
All right, thanks, Kirby.
Cool. That's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.